So that
That's
is it.
terrible.
It's painful. It is a lot of pain.
I've returned. Ah.
Exactly.
You say putting their money where their mouth is. They've been putting their money where their mouth is for a really long time. They just haven't putting any like effort where their mouth is.
It feels like something Analog would do, right? But I I don't know why I had to dig at them. But
Shots fired.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the NerdNest podcast. I am your host, Bill Fairchild. Again, we have the full crew. We are joined today by Cary Golem. Cary, what's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
And we also have Russ Crandall. How you doing, Russ?
I'm great. I love like guessing which order you're going to say our names. It's one of my favorite parts.
And do I do it different every time? I don't even know.
Yeah.
Okay. And last but certainly not least is Rich, aka Fan the Deck. How you doing, Rich?
I'm all right. I'm wiping some tears away from Steam Machine News, but doing great overall.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that today. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. But before we get to any of the news stories, I had made a video recently about essentially talking about discoverability on Steam, and then it kind of got me looking at my backlog because like I can't find the games that I want to play. Maybe I should just play some of my old games. And then I came across howlongtobeat.com / and I got to click on it / Steam. And it's not something that I ever like. I always look at howlongtobeat.com to see how long is it going to take me to beat this game. But if you go to howlongtobeat.com / Steam, they give you a spot where you can log in and find out exactly how long it takes to beat your entire Steam library. So I included that in the video that I was making, and I'll leave a link to that video down below. But for me, my roughly 900, somewhere between 900 and 1,000 games, it's going to take me 725 days and 11 hours to beat all of those games. And to be honest, I play games slower than most people, so it's going to take longer than that. But there's a couple things that I want to do. First off, I want to know what Rich and what Russ, what their numbers are. And I also want to know Cary's. In fact, a listener asked about Cary's because they know that Cary has a very large Steam library. But what I thought that we could do is first we'll find out Russ's and Rich's like how long to beat hours for their Steam library. And then we're going to take bets on how much Cary's is. And we'll find out at the end of the show, he'll tell us how long it's going to take him to beat his entire Steam library. So Russ, what's your say?
So my total time to beat, it says 519 days, and that is 595 games in my library. I'm assuming because I've got a lot of RPGs and stuff, so the number's pretty high. And then it has a thing that says how much you've played too. And so I have 47 days of single player playtime already on my account. Half of that's probably my son because we were sharing an account for a while and he was playing a lot of Hollow Knight and stuff. But yeah, so I've got 519 total days, but it says I've got 472 remaining days if they're counting the time to beat for the rest of the games that I haven't beat, I guess.
Yeah, I have my profile like set to private because a while ago I had like early access to some game and then it got leaked that I had early access to that because somebody saw, and then I got like admonished by the company that had sent me the game, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just setting my profile to private, so mine just says that I have 0 hours. It doesn't detect it. Rich, what do you got for hours?
So my time to beat total is 1,197 days and 16 hours. Yeah.
1,197.
Yeah.
And how
Where
many
does
games
it
do you have in
say?
your library?
I was going to say, where does it say that? I believe
It's
I
right
have
above.
there
It says we match blank of blank games.
Yep. So it says we match 2,075 of 2,099 games.
Okay. So I have somewhere between, well, I already closed the window, so I don't know, but somewhere between 900 and 1,000 games, and it's going to take me 700 days to beat. Russ, 500 games. How many hours again?
519 days. I have just under
519
600
days.
Yeah, 600 games. It's
okay.
Closer. Yeah.
And then Rich has 2,000 games, and it's going to take him, remind me?
1,200 days. Roughly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's take bets. I'm gonna have Russ. I'm gonna have you.
But let's remind the
let's
audience about the caveats. So
There's
go
a
ahead, Cary.
caveat, yeah. So I have more, but they don't count the plus ones. I have what they can see is 10,362 games. They stop.
What they can see.
Yeah, they stop after 2,500 or so. They just don't do it anymore. It's like, all right, we're not doing that anymore. So it says, due to the size of your profile, we have only matched the top 2,532 games of your 10,362.
So Russ, I'm gonna have you make a guess, and then Rich, I want you to go over or under, and then we'll find out at the end of the show, like who's closer.
Are we guessing the top 2,500 or the full 10,000 and speculating?
No, I
we
can only
can't
give you
get
the
the full-
2,500.
So
Yeah,
it's just 2,500.
It has to be. Yeah, we can't.
So
get
keep
the
in
full
mind what you
10,000.
know of Rich's. Because
Can I get Rich's numbers again? I feel a lot of pressure right now.
1,200 days. 1,200 days.
1,200 days, and you have about 2,000.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So because it's picking the best of them, I'm thinking it's those that have the highest ratings and stuff. It's going to be more popular games, and those will probably be longer games. Rich has probably got a ton of lightweight indie games. That's why it's a little bit lower. So I'm going to guess,
Keep in mind, Cary has 500 more games than Rich does because of the cutoff.
we're looking at the total, right? The total, not
Total.
Like the remaining.
yeah,
Yeah,
time
the
to beat total. So I'm going to say 2,500 days.
2,500 days.
Oh man.
Okay.
Okay, that's a good. I think that's a good line. So
It's like
I'm
almost
doing
in line
over
with the
under?
number of games.
You're doing
Yeah.
over under.
Yeah. I'm gonna go under. It's tough, but I'm gonna go under for that one. Yeah. Cary's
right.
laughing, but we're not gonna get to find out till the end of the show.
That's
It's
right.
insane.
And everybody who's watching, leave your comments down below. Don't cheat. Don't go to the end of the show and find out. Leave a comment down below. I'm very curious how close we can get to Cary's number. All right. With that fun ridiculousness out of the way, let's move on to our first story of the day. And our first story is all about Steam Machine launch whiplash because what was it, 2 days ago? Am I remembering it right? Or was it 3 days ago?
2 days. Wednesday.
2 days. Okay. So 2 days ago, there's this story from Tom's Hardware. Basically, AMD was saying, hey, according to us, the Steam Machine is on track to begin shipping in early 2026, which is music to everyone's ears. But then later that same day, Valve published a little FAQ. And in that FAQ, they confirmed that the Steam Machine, the Steam Frame, and they mentioned the controller, but they didn't say it was going to be delayed. And actually, they didn't really say that it was delayed. What they really just said was, well, we'll talk about that in a second. But they're delaying it. No matter what anybody says, it's a delay. They said, we're going to be targeting the first half. Now, previously, they had said early 2026, and now they have changed that language to the first half. And so we still don't know what's the price of this thing. We still don't know when it's going to come out. It's just that they're going to come out, the machine, the frame, the controller, in the first half of the year. So, we get that first message from AMD, and then Valve says, oh no, and they rug pull us and say it's delayed, essentially. So my question to all of you guys, first off, I've got 3 questions. The first question that I want to ask everybody, and we'll do like a little round robin here. How much do you guys think that the Steam Machine and frame will cost now? Because the entire reason that Valve is delaying everything is because of the Rampocalypse. Like, it's just too hard to get the parts that they need. The prices are too high. And so they've delayed because of that. How much do you guys think it's going to cost? Rich, I'm going to start with you. Is this change your math at all?
I mean, my math was dubious from the start, right?
I mean, everybody's is.
I don't know. I feel like I'm probably a bad source in terms of like what this will cost. But what I will stick to is that I still feel like $800 would be too much, right? Like it would be, the way this came up before was someone asked if it would be dead on arrival for $800, and obviously it's Valve, so dead on arrival would have to mean something very different. But I would think that at $800 it would just be not nearly the success that Steam Deck was. And so I think for Steam Machine, I'm still not projecting or predicting, but I am still hoping for $600.
All right. Russ, what do you think? Do you think does this change your math?
Yeah, not necessarily this news, but just, thinking about it in today's environment and stuff. So I've been saying, previously $600 is what like I think it can go for, and I would be surprised and delighted if it was 500. Like that's kind of like what I've been thinking. I'm kind of thinking $100 more in each end. So now $700 for the low spec model, and then if they want to really push units and surprise us, then bring it down to 600. That's kind of what I'm thinking in this environment, at least.
Fair enough. Cary, you of all of us, you're the one who said it was like you had the cheapest price all the time, every time that we've talked about this. Do you still think it's going to be that cheapest price, or are you adjusting your prediction?
Yeah, it's still on the upper bounds of my prediction. I can't see it being more than 600. Like 600 is the top end of where it can possibly be. One thing I wanted to talk about is when we had first talked about this, especially when the original rumor was the entire bundle, when we all were talking about the three things, controller, Steam frame, and Steam Machine, was $1,200. And back then I was saying 400, 500 for the Steam Machine, 700, 800 for the Steam frame. My thought process based on what the product was back then never changed. The cost for the parts are very not it's just stuff that AMD has laying around and can't sell. So they're making lemonade out of lemons. Valve is in there. They want to have a good relationship. I can't see that part being expensive. The part that does get, very expensive is the NAND and DRAM, which they're going to get raked over the coals on if they did not already have a contract prior. That's going to be on them. It can't be more than 600. If it is DOA, because there is what it has, it's going to launch at a place that is not good enough for where games are headed on day one. It's already on you're going to put modern games on it and you're going to be like, what the hell is this? It's going to be already behind. And then it's going to have to go 5-6 years into the future without getting a Steam Machine 2. Mm-hmm. So you can't sell. Also, not for nothing, AMD also said, hey, we're also making Xbox Next Console in 2027. And that's 1 year away. So if it's 1 year away, go ahead.
I'm just a bit dubious of AMD's marketing on both of these, or
sure.
It's not meant to be marketing, right? But also it is, right? That's
everything
the point.
That a CEO says is marketing.
Right. And so I take both of these to mean, and I think you do too, Cary, based on the conversations we had, I take both of these to mean if it gets delayed, it's not our fault. We didn't do it.
It's going to be ready on our end. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, also, we have to put big caveats and asterisks that we don't actually know what the next Xbox is. We only know rumors, right? The rumor could be completely bogus. But based on the rumor, we can only, we had the rumor of what what Fremont was. And based on then, we were like, oh, that's the cost of it. That's not too bad for $400. And now we're going into 600, 700, 800. And you're like, oh goodness. If you're in the territory, now remember, when the Xbox launches, if it is that hybrid PC that can run Steam on it, that can run Epic on it, and this is going to be an order of magnitude better, and it's only going to be $400 more, where the hell does that sit? And then you're going to have this is going to be way more future-proofed. It's going to have 10x better, 12x better ray tracing performance. It's going to be able to leverage all FSR 5, which this won't be able to. It might get FSR 4 Lite, if it's lucky. So 8 gigs of VRAM. There's just lots of things here that it's not looking very good for timing wise. Valve is really just in a real pickle.
Especially, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, go right ahead.
Especially in the what we're hearing from Sony and Nintendo right now, are that we do have those contracts. We are not going to raise prices, and of course that's just marketing too. They could raise prices again as well, but if they are able to kind of stick to the pricing model that they have today, that does, even though these are different markets, console and PC, that does change the value proposition that a Steam Machine has at a certain price, right? Part of that value proposition is, can you get close enough to a console price that it makes it not a good value. A good value is one thing, but it makes it an almost obvious purchase, which is what I consider the Steam Deck to have been at $400. That is something that I would recommend to almost anyone at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The Steam Deck was, but that's the thing, is the Steam Deck was magical. The Steam Deck, like, think about the Steam Deck. Steam Deck was 2 times better than all the current handhelds at half the price. And now the Steam Machine is coming out that's like not as good as a PS5 and more expensive than a PS5. Those numbers don't work. Like, you're all of a sudden like, oh, that's like the magic of the Steam Deck was that, and the Steam Machine is losing magic fast. And it's going to hit a brick wall. Reviews are going to not be pretty when they're starting to run anything that has ray tracing, if all the ray tracing improvements aren't there. 600 is the top end for me. Like the app, like I put a little squiggly of like $100 plus or minus. I really thought that it should have launched at 400. 500 was where I was months ago when I talked about it with the prices of stuff. I'm now leaning at 600 because things are absolutely outrageous. I don't know where their contracts sit. So I'm still like in the $500, $600 range, but $600 is my absolute top end for the Steam Machine alone. I still think it's going to be $700, $800 for the Steam frame.
I still, I mentioned this before too, like, I hope that they have some sort of like sub page on that, like an accessories page or whatever, where you can buy it bare bones. No RAM, no hard drive. $300, whatever, $350. That would be amazing. Just for people like us who probably already have RAM and storage sitting around in other computers, just do that.
Yeah.
I think that would be great. Anyway.
No, I totally agree with you. I don't know if they would do it, but I totally agree with you. I think that there is a segment of the population that would 100% do it, and then they also get to have that number, right? That number exists. Yeah. Like, it's like that $400 Steam Deck thing, right? It's like, well, it's there. not that you're buying it, but it's there. Right. I'm totally in agreement with you. Also, not for nothing, they could be a little cheesy and just do 8 gigs of RAM on system memory, because there's SODIMM slots, so you can upgrade that. So they could do half RAM and also do that. So it would still operate. It wouldn't be ideal. You'd still have 8 gigs of VRAM, 8 gigs of system RAM. They could 100% get by on that. But yeah, they're going to have to play fast and loose. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. So my prediction was originally 650. And then now, because of everything that's happened, I'm raising it to 750 is what I think it's going to be at this point. Let's move on to the next question that I have about this. When is it coming out? Because Cary brought up a really important point. The Steam Machine is running out of highway, or it's running out of runway, I guess, is whatever the phrase is that you say. If it's going to take off, it needs to take off at a certain time, because it's already a relatively underpowered machine. I understand that there's a boatload of games that it's able to play on Steam, but when you compare it, and comparison is always the thief of joy, but when you compare it to other hardware that you can get for a similar price, if we're assuming that our ballparks are somewhere close to correct, it does kind of seem like, well, that's weak sauce. The thing that I think a lot of people forget about when it comes to price, and we'll get back to that date in a second, is that we are paying for power, but that's not the only thing that you're paying for in here. With the Steam Machine, you're also paying for form factor. You're paying for it being very, very quiet. It's a living room machine, not a traditional PC. And because of that, I think that you have to make trade-offs, and that some of those trade-offs raise the cost. But the point that I was making before I got distracted by shiny things is, if they don't launch it now, and I don't mean like right now, but you get what I'm saying. If they don't launch it soon, then it's going to be too out of date for people to be interested in buying. So my question is, when do you think it's going to launch? And when do you think it absolutely 100% needs to launch by in order to really capture that? Russ, what do you think?
So the number I have in my head, or the date I have in my head, is Memorial Day weekend. So the way I'm thinking about it is just from a business perspective. If you say you're going to have something out by the first half of the year, and then you do June 30th, like, it just kind of feels a little sleazy. It's like, oh yeah, you got it in, great. It like feels like something Analog would do, right? But I don't know why I had to dig at them.
Shots fired.
But you know
I
what I
love
mean?
it.
Like it feels like something they would do. But whereas Valve, like I want to think of them as the good guys, right? They're like, hey, Memorial Day weekend, we'll give you a full month ahead of time, right? Like that makes sense to me, you know. But I'm just coming up with a number at that point. But I think it's important that they have enough time to one, get the software right. You know, I'm sure there's going to be bugs in the beginning, but also really to establish themselves by the holidays as an alternative to consoles to say, okay, yep, this thing can play your Xbox games, can play your PlayStation games. Maybe not all of them, but most of them play on PC, and that's what this thing can play, right? And so it's this idea of being an alternative to the consoles, so that way by the time the Xbox comes out, maybe people aren't as excited about it because they can play all those same games on the Steam machine. Maybe not the same graphics, but they can still play them. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking, is that it needs time to kind of get on the runway and kind of get off, you know, take off on its own around holiday. And so I think that, yeah, Memorial Day weekend is what I'm guessing at.
Rich?
I like Russ's thinking, so I'm going to stick with that. I like that a lot. I think that regardless of how you think of this announcement that Valve put forth, I think that like one thing they're making clear is that even if you do consider this a delay, it is a delay of no more than 3 months, right? And Valve is not the type of company to make that sort of commitment. You know what I mean? Like they are not, like if they are going to delay something, they're not going to tell you, like let's say a video game, right? They're not going to say,
Oh, right. They're not going to give it a damn date
at all. They're not going to say, we
Right.
still expect to have this available by June. Like we think we're going to figure this out and we're going to have it in your hands by June. They would not.
You hear
say
that, Rockstar?
I think if Valve was willing to wait and then make this update after, you know, all of this time between their announcement, because Rampocalypse started with around the time of their announcement, right? So they've given it this time. They've come back from their vacation. They have their yearly vacation. They've come back from that and they said, I think we're still on track. That's how they framed it, right? We're still on track. We're just not ready to announce price. We're not ready to announce release date. So that's why we haven't announced it yet.
And you still think Memorial Day weekend?
I like Memorial Day weekend. I think that's a good one. Yeah.
All right. Cary?
Yeah, I'm going to say Memorial Day weekend as well, if only because for work I have to travel to London during that time. So it's going to be the most inopportune time for me. So yeah, that's where it's coming.
2026.
Yeah.
That's too funny.
Gosh darn you,
so
2026.
are you guys saying Memorial Day weekend is when it releases or when you can pre-order?
Well, I don't know.
I don't think there's going to be much of a pre-order here.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be an order. Like they say shipping. Everything, all the words they've used have been shipping. Like even when they said early 2026, they said ships early 2026. They didn't say you can order it early 2026.
I think it might be like the Steam Deck a bit, like you know how
Yeah,
they,
that's what I was
you have,
thinking.
Like batches.
You have to, yeah, like remember you have to be a Steam user. You have to have playtime on Steam.
I agree with that. with
Yeah.
that. I just think as soon as you order it,
It's gonna ship.
the 3PL systems are going to be rocking and rolling. Like they're going to be queuing up those orders. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I could see that as well. I mean, they have to have. So yes, I actually am in agreement with you, Rich. And the reason why I'm going to say I'm in agreement with you is because when you look at all of the improvements that they've been making to ray tracing and how they're all merged for Mesa 26, like everything is all hands on deck for Mesa 26. I feel like Mesa 26 is like, we need this to validate the Steam machine and see where ray tracing is and see where FSR4 Lite is, and then kind of figure it out. So, but I think like that is like when they say, okay, press the button and we can start doing this or not.
Real quick, I just want to point out for those of you who are like, what in the hell is Cary talking about, Mesa 26? He put out a video about the delay and he explains all of that in that video. So make sure that you check that out over at youtube.com/thefox. All right. The third question that I have for you guys, and I'm going to combine the because I thought of another question in the middle of this, so it's really four questions, or the third and fourth question. Number one, do you consider this a delay? And this is a simple yes or no or if you have more to expound on, feel free. But then the second thing, will Valve insist on shipping everything at once? Are they going to sell the Steam machine, the Steam frame, and the Steam controller all at once? Or are they going to trickle things out? Because when you look at the phrasing that they used, it says our goal of shipping all three products in the first half of the year has not changed. And when I look at that, it makes me think maybe they had planned on shipping Steam Machine and Steam Controller first, and then Steam Frame a little bit down the road, because that gives them a little bit of wiggle room, because originally they said early 2026, and now they're saying the first half of 2026. Technically, if they had already planned on shipping the Steam Frame later on in the year, then it's not a delay. Do you guys get where I'm kind of going with that? Cary,
Yeah.
what do you think? Is it a delay, and will they ship everything at once?
I don't think it's a delay. I think they will ship everything at once, if only to reiterate on our previous conversation about the bundle price. I think that bundle price was something that they had talked about
Oh, right.
all the
I forgot
time.
about that.
I also am of the belief that the bundle price includes the Steam controller for free. And one of the other reasons why I've always been kind of bumping the price down on Steam Machine is I don't think that Steam Machine comes with the Steam controller, which does not, like, you know how consoles come with controllers? I don't
Yeah.
think the Steam controller is coming with the Steam Machine, which is going to be, $70, $80 cost or whatever. So that's why I've always considered that all three were going to be at once, and the bundle was get the controller for free.
Yeah, so I think that whether or not it's a delay is very subjective. So like I don't mean that as in like the normal things are subjective. I think from the perspective of the consumer, it is a delay. I think Valve, from their perspective, I think they're being honest that when they said early 2026, they meant the first half. It's not what I thought. It's not what our viewers thought, I don't think. But I also don't believe that they are lying about that and, are now like, oh, we meant the first half when we said early 2026. I think that's how they thought of it. I don't know why, but that's just my belief.
Well, was it like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
We were
had that
talking about this,
conversation.
and I said, well, it could just be the first half of the year. And I was just playing devil's advocate. Like, I didn't really think that, but
Yeah.
but everybody was like, you're stupid.
But if you remember, I was like, yeah, like you made a case, and I was like, yeah, that could be right. Like it's not out of the realm of possibility that someone says early 2026 and that they're hedging and they're thinking at least I have those for 6 months, right? But nonetheless, to the consumer, like we all knew what we thought early 2026 means. So no matter what, yes, this is a delay, right? Does Valve insist on shipping everything at once? I think yes. I think I have a different reason than Cary, a slightly different reason. I've always kind of thought of Steam Machine and Steam Frame as both being a little less exciting than Steam Deck, right? Like Steam Deck can stand on its own, but Steam Machine and Steam Frame, like neither of them, based on like what I see from comments in my audience, right, can be like this will drive a lot of attention, a lot of hype in a single year. But combining them with the Steam controller, like this is what generates all of this hype that we've seen, I think.
Russ?
Yeah. So I think that it is a delay. That's the way I'm thinking of it. Just because early 2026 is a specific time frame to me. There's early, mid, and late, right? And they're basically butting right into the middle of mid. And so for me, I think it's a delay. The only thing they really acknowledged in that post was that they planned on announcing the price point by now, and they haven't, right? And I think it's smart, honestly. Like I don't have any ill will towards this delay, so to speak.
No.
Just because they're being smart about it. This is what I would do. I'd be like, let's. Like circumstances have changed. The world has changed. Let's adapt to that. And I think that's smart. And that's what they're doing right now. Same thing like during the pandemic, people made a lot of adjustments, and those who did usually came out the better for it. And so I've got no ill will to this whole thing, but I do think it is a delay beyond what they were initially projecting. As far as shipping it all at once, I think they want to. And I think the reason behind it is very similar to what Cary and Rich were saying. But in particular, for me as a buyer, I don't really care about the Steam frame, but man, if they've got a bundle and it's like going to come with like a free controller or whatever, I'm going to like, I might as well just get it. And if I'm thinking that, there's other people who are going to think that. So it's probably in their best interest to put it all together, to have that kind of little bit of FOMO, you know, like just in the past 20 minutes we've been talking about this, I've been getting excited. Like, I don't know, like a little bit emotional, just like, God, I can't wait till I can buy this thing. You know, like I can click on the button and then put my credit card information in. You know what I mean? I haven't thought that way since the Steam Deck, to be honest, since any product launch, where I'm actually excited to put in an order and then be part of the whole zeitgeist and all that. And if I'm feeling that, then other people are too. And putting that bundle together is going to make us feel that more. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Very cool. Well, everybody who's watching this, I got a question for you. Actually, I got 4 questions for you. Question number 1, how much do you think it's going to cost? Number 2, when's it going to ship? Number 3, are they going to ship everything at once? And number 4, is it delayed? Let us know in the comment section down below. And we're going to move on to our next topic. And the next topic for today is talking more about the Rampocalypse, because, you know, everything that uses, every computing device that we have has RAM in it. You know, they all have that stuff, and that stuff is getting really, really expensive. And AMD is basically rumored to switch over from they're going to start prioritizing 8 gigabit,
Byte.
Somebody
Byte.
save me.
Gigabyte.
Byte. Okay. My brain stopped working there for a second. I really should have 2 different words for that. They're going to prioritize 8 gigabyte GPUs, and they're going to be raising the price there. Here's like a quick summary. AMD board partners implemented a 5 to 10% GPU price increase in January of 2026, with another hike planned for February and March, and they're going to be prioritizing 8 gigabyte models like the RX 9060 XT, 8 gigabyte due to skyrocketing RAM costs. Production of 16 gigabyte models will be significantly reduced, with prices rising $10 per 8 gigabytes of VRAM to match escalating memory costs driven by AI data center demand. So, okay, first off, it's a rumor. So we don't know if this is true. So anytime we have something that's a rumor, I have 2 things that I want to think about. Number 1, is it true? And number 2, if it is true, or let's just assume it's true, what do you think of it? And so I'm going to go first here this time. The way I look at this, it seems like it's a no-brainer. They have to do this, really, because otherwise they're not going to have things to sell to consumers, because they can't get the parts that they need. So I do think that this is probably going to be true. The second part of that, though, what do I think of it, is more complex. And the reason it's more complex, I think, is because the question is this a bad thing? And I don't think that this is necessarily a bad thing, especially for somebody who's interested in the Steam Deck, because if this, or not Steam Deck, Steam Machine, because if the Steam Machine has 8 gigs of VRAM and AMD is going to start shipping hardware that is prioritizing 8 gigs of VRAM, then perhaps we'll see developers optimizing their games for less VRAM. And a perfect example would be Larian Studios, which made Baldur's Gate 3, and they recently announced their next game, which is Divinity. They announced it at the Game Awards. And then shortly after they announced it, the Rampocalypse started. And then they basically said, hey, we have to start optimizing sooner than we wanted to, because we know that people are not going to have the hardware that we hoped that they would have when our new game Divinity comes out. So, Rich, do you think it's true? And if it's true, do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
I'm not going to lie. I understood none of that. Not what you said, but literally the way it was written in that report. Maybe it's because, like, you know, I'm like the mom on Arrested Development. If you ask me how much like a 9060 XT costs, I'm like, what does a banana cost these days? $10? Like, I don't know what a 9060 XT costs, honestly. And like, but like the way they explained it was like, $10 per 8 GB of RAM increase, but also the board maker would have an increase, but also the board partners would increase. So I'm a little bit lost, I'll be honest.
Okay, but okay, do you think that it's possible that they would raise the prices and focus on 8 GB of VRAM? Like that's
Like
the
focus
question.
on
And then
on selling like
yes.
have that be the. Yeah, I think so. I mean, but that's similar to like Nvidia, like, oh, we're just gonna give you 50 series cards again.
Right.
I think they're going to sell you less for more money. Yeah, most likely, right? And is that like a good thing? I mean, net gain, net loss. I think this is overall a bad thing, but nonetheless, as I have always been, like, going to focus on smaller games, worse graphics, etc. And that'll be the way I cope. And I have apparently 1,200 days worth of those games already. So I'll just keep buying those.
Cary, do you believe the rumor? And is the rumor a bad thing or a good thing?
I do believe the rumor generally. I don't think it's a good thing. I think it's trying to make lemonade at not that the 96, not that these cards are lemons. That they're not. It's just that the situation is lemons, and they have to make lemonade out of the situation rather than the product.
Mm-hmm.
So you go back to what Gabe said about the Steam Deck, that they were surprised that people were buying the more expensive version than the cheaper version. I think when it comes down to is when, regardless of whatever it is, people are going to deal in the situation that they are, and they just want to get something that is going to be better for them going into the future. They don't want to be getting something that is only going to last them a short period of time. They have, especially with technology, you often hear the word future-proof thrown around, and people do care about that. So they try to set themselves up as best as they possibly can, even if they're only going to have it for a year, right? Like, actually, I'm done using it. I'm going to sell it. But then they think to themselves, wait, I have the best version, so it's going to be better, easier to sell, and I'll be able to, you know what I mean? So there's lots of reasons why they always do it. So I think it's just, they're not doing it because they're like, oh, we need to make it cheaper. I think they're doing it because the allotment of RAM that they have, if they use 16 gigs, the amount of units that they can get is less. Yeah. Right. So it's like kind of like that situation.
Yeah.
That's how I ultimately perceive it when they're talking to these companies. And that's just basically making lemonade out of the situation.
Yeah. Russ, do you believe it? And if you do believe it, or just assume that it's true, do you think it's good for game optimization if the main hardware makers are shipping less powerful hardware?
Yeah, so I looked it up because I don't know prices for AMD graphics card either. And so a 9060 XT, 8 gigs is around $350 on Best Buy right now. And then a 16 gig is $450 on Best Buy. So those are not bad prices. I don't know how good these graphics cards are, like the equivalent on the NVIDIA side, but I don't know, those are pretty decent prices if you look at it. And those are all in stock right now. I could go and pick them up, which is kind of crazy. So the way I see it, yeah, this is probably right. I mean, there's a RAM shortage, and so because of the RAM shortage, they're probably going to have to adjust prices. And if they can ship twice as many 8 gigabyte models as 16 gigabyte models, that might be a win for them, right? And I think that for game optimization, it's actually a good thing. So there's a quote I was looking up while you guys were talking about it, and it's from Orson Welles: "The enemy of art is the absence of limitations." And I feel like that's exactly where we are, right? Where it's like, just throw some bigger numbers at it, just, throw more things at it, and it's going to be better art. But I think that doing more with less is always better. When I was at CES last month, I went to an MSI press briefing thing that they did, right? And they were talking about this new GPU, and it was like super high end, like limited edition 2000 numbered GPUs or whatever. I don't remember which, 5090 something or other. But they kept talking about how it can go up to 1,000 watts and like how this was a good thing. And I'm just thinking, like, why do I need 1,000 watts in my GPU ever? But that was the thing. It's like, this thing goes to 1,000 watts, and like, this is the opposite of the whole, the quote that I just said, right? And that's what I want to see. I want to see people doing more with less. I got an email just yesterday from a company that makes microfiber cloths, and they're like, hey, we want to send you a package to review. And in that email, they said this is the year where you're going to be talking more about doing stuff with the stuff you already have than buying new stuff. So this is why you need my thing, you know? And I was like, it's actually pretty poignant. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I'm thinking with 2026 as well. Is like, sure, let's see what we can do with the 8 GB model as opposed to the 16 GB model. So I like all of that. I think it's a good thing for gaming in general.
Are you going to be reviewing microfiber cloths?
I might. It's from Whoosh, which is the company that, like, I just talked about them a couple weeks ago in my Retroid Pocket 6. I bought a bunch of cloths and I tried them all out and I was like, this is the best one. And then they emailed me. And so, yeah, I might get a package from them and see what they got.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Well, let us know what you guys like right now. We all think that it's probably true, but I guess the panel is 50-50 on whether or not this is good for game optimization. So whatever you guys think, let us know in the comments section down below that like button. Is this good for game optimization, and do you believe the rumors? And with that, we'll move on to our next topic. And the next topic that we have today is about the Epic Game Store. You know, I mean, look, I'm a big Steam fan. I don't use the Epic Game Store. When the Epic Game Store first came out and they were like, we're going to give away all these games. Sure enough, every single time that they gave out those games, I would turn on the Epic Game Store launcher. I would claim the free game. Then I would close the Epic Game Store launcher and I would not launch it again until the next time that they would offer free games. I basically never really played. I think there was like 2 games that I think I actually tried to actually play. But before, other than that, I was just claiming free games. Well, now they're trying to do some different things to try and convince people to, you know, use their store and their launcher. And so they're going to start overhauling the way that they do things. And I think that they're doing something that is very interesting. I don't think it's going to convince me to play it or to use it, but maybe it will for some other people. Maybe it will for a lot of people, because it depends on Fortnite, which is one of the most popular, pardon me, one of the most popular games of all time. Sorry about that. So here's what it says. Epic Game Store. You know what, Rich? Can you read this? I got to get a drink.
Yeah, I got you. Epic Game Store. Epic Game Store is getting a complete architecture rebuild launching summer 2026 to improve performance and stability, while introducing a new program where players who buy select third-party games get exclusive Fortnite cosmetics. Launch partners include Capcom, MiHoYo, Pearl Abyss, and others, with 40 games in 2026 offering Fortnite items as purchase bonuses. That is a lot. I don't know what to make of this, right? Like, I am very interested in the architecture rebuild, and like they mentioned making the client, more the launcher itself, have faster load times, better stability, have it be more responsive, and also introduce like text chat and voice chat and things like that. I don't know how much of that is already there for Epic Game Store. But I know that a lot of people, you know, will say that you want to compete with Steam, you have to start to get closer to feature parity. So I think that's what they're aiming for, but it's definitely kind of putting your money where your mouth is. What do you think, Cary?
So there's a bit more to that, and so there's a follow on to that Bill has in the show notes, and that's with Epic Game Store's plan for the next Xbox as well, and the integration with that. And I have to wonder if this isn't one and the same, somewhere in there. I do think that overall it needed to be done on the PC side, but there's a part of me that wonders if Microsoft has some integration layer for the Xbox side where Epic could more seamlessly work in whatever that they're going to be doing. And maybe Valve knows about this as well, for them to integrate Steam into this thing as well, especially GOG and all the other ones. So I don't know how far that part's into it or how relevant this news is. I do think generally it is good, and I do agree with you about putting their money where their mouth is, and it's something that they do need to address, because there's a lot of shortcomings when it comes to the Epic Game Store insofar as feature parity of what's going on in Steam. Then there's just what Steam offers that's not really so much built into the client, but just features that they have, like the Steam community, then you have Workshop, which is integrated into Steam, but then you also have like remote play I guess there is a bunch that actually Steam has that's built into the client that Epic really just needs to start doing. It'll be interesting if the integration layer that they have with Microsoft kind of facilitates that or not.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. So you say putting their money where their mouth is. They've been putting their money where their mouth is for a really long time. They just haven't putting any like effort where their mouth is. You know what I mean? What were you going to say, Russ?
I just, my own 2 cents on it is, the integration of Xbox will be really interesting for me because I want to be able to play Epic Game Store games without having to deal with Epic Game Store. So if I can play those on my Xbox, like all those free games. Bill, as you were talking, I don't know if you guys saw me, but I was talking to Siri and I said, Siri, remind me every week to check the Epic Game Store because I always forget, right? And I was like, all right, every Monday now it's going to say, hey, go to the website and grab a free game if it's something that's interesting, right? And so that's kind of my level of Epic Game Store-ishness right now. And so I'm hoping that this integration with Xbox will do a really cool open up my backlog even more to be able to play all those games that I've saved over the years. But my other thought is this drawing a line in the sand? Like, is Steam also going to have this integration with the next Xbox, or are we getting like a real straight up like Xbox and Epic versus Steam and themselves only? You know what I mean? Like, what kind of line are we drawing here? Are we getting another console competitor, so to speak, with Xbox not aligning with Steam? Because I feel like if they aligned with Steam, it would just open up a whole nother world for Xbox. And so that's my big thing here is like, it's really cool that Epic Game Store is integrating into Xbox. It's going to make it so I can play these games more. But I hope it's just a first step in terms of integrations.
So I have two things I kind of want to bring up, which one of them, it relates to Russ, your habit, like the Siri thing that you're doing. Because you mentioned last time, right? Like once a month you go to Amazon and you check the games there and you recommend that people do that. And like this was actually me like 5 years ago where I did exactly that. Every week I had a reminder. I would come in, I would check my free games. I would load them up, like not install them, but I would go to Play Night, the Windows game launcher, and add them to my library there. I would tag them and stuff like that. And then I still didn't play them. And so now I just gave up. So I've lost probably 3 or 4 years of free games on Epic and Amazon. So don't be like me, I suppose. But yeah, I wonder how other people are with that. But yeah, go ahead, Bill.
No, you go.
Well, the thing with the Epic Game Store is like, now we have mentioned a couple times, once on this podcast, but then in the group chat, that like, I don't know, you guys seem to think that the Epic Game Store integration into Xbox is going to be like impressive. Maybe that's too strong of a word, but like, I can't, this is me being cynical and I understand that. I can't picture it not being worse than, I can't picture not being disappointed is what I'm trying to say. And so like, I wonder, what is it that like would be a good integration of Epic Game Store into Xbox? What would make a good integration?
Okay, I have an answer for that. What will be Cary, you're muted.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You go first, Bill.
Oh, okay. So what will be a good integration? Well, number one, we're not going to have a good integration. All right.
Fair.
But what would be a good integration? If I could buy the games on the Epic Game Store or on the Xbox Store or on Steam, and no matter where I buy them, they're just in my library as like, just like as if I added a non-Steam game to Steam. It just is sitting there, and to for all intents and purposes, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter where you bought it. That would be a good integration. What we're going to get instead is exactly what we got on the Xbox Ally X. When you bring up the little menu by hitting the command center button or whatever, it's going to say, do you want to install Steam? Do you want to install that? And it's just going to look kind of crappy. And when you go to launch that game, it's going to launch the Epic Game Store. There's going to be a little pop-up. Then you'll have to close it somehow. And then you finally get into the game. That's what it's actually going to be.
So if that's the case, then that's all like, that is the cynical route, is And I'm not even saying like that's not a possibility. That is a strong possibility that is what happens. If that is what happens, that's a, that's gonna be a bit of a train wreck. It's pretty bad. But yeah, so the idea would be, imagine it's like, Steam OS, right? Where you just click on a game, and when you say click on the game, it just has this little drop down things like, which one you own it here, which one do you want, or you don't own this anywhere, which one do you want to buy it from? And you're not jumping to their store. You're just, Microsoft is hooking into those stores to buy through those things in a effortless way, as well as downloading from those places in an effortless way, saying like, you own this game, here's where you own it. You can buy it here, but you can install it from here because you already own it. I think that's like, I think Microsoft, especially the Xbox group, if this is their idea of where they want to get to, I think that's what they recognize. And I think a lot of people have said, we've all said this, so it's not like this is like not known to them. I just, if they can get to that point, then that would be awesome. But if it's just what it already is now, then
Yeah, there's precedent for that actually. On my Apple TV, if I search for a movie, it'll say you could get it on Amazon, or you can watch it on Netflix, or you can watch it on HBO, or you can buy it on Apple. Like, I have all of these options for how I can get to that stuff. So the idea of me going into the store on an Xbox and saying, I want to buy Expedition 32, the next one, then it's going to
cool.
say
34.
No,
it goes
definitely
the other way,
32.
buddy.
Yeah,
It's
definitely
32. You got to play that game, buddy.
Oh, yes, they do. All right.
Right.
Oh, man, spoiler.
Well,
Jeez.
no, sorry. Whatever. I click on that button, and if it has like the places where I can buy it, and it has the prices right next to it, that would be amazing. I wouldn't even have to go like window shopping. I could just say, oh yeah, hell yes, let me get it there. It's $2 cheaper. That would be awesome.
Right. Yeah, this is that's like also like Android calls this their intent system. Basically every application could expose itself to an intent. And if you like hold your finger on an application and it's like copy, you can say copy, and it's like, oh, these are the applications that you can copy to. These are the applications that can take that thing, and it's their intent system. And I do recall Apple's thing, even though their input method is the most atrocious thing ever. It's like, how do we make this the worst thing ever so that people only use their voice for entry? Because that, when you have that sliding row of characters on the Apple TV.
Oh,
Yeah,
you can change that.
Oh,
You can
I've
make
only
it a
used my
grid.
brothers. I'm like, yeah, I was like, oh, this is just let me
Awful.
speak. But yeah, one thing I did like is that when you search, the search has that intent system where it goes and can drill into the applications and can go into Plex and can go into everything, and it'll use the search function inside of all of those without having to go into the application to start fetching that data out. And that level of integration is where Microsoft really needs to get this to for their game side.
All right. Anybody else have final thoughts? I don't remember who got a chance to talk about this before.
I will just say, as far as like the interface and stuff, I don't even care if it's ugly and sucks. If it can let me play my Steam games on my Xbox, I'm happy. That's all I want. Just give me that.
Even if
interface.
it has to launch Steam when you launch that game?
I can live with that. Absolutely.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, that's the other thing I want to mention. It would be awesome if discs worked. I bought this today. It's $5.
I think.
if
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, like because no one buys any games on Xbox, all of the games are outrageously inexpensive. So if you were looking to buy games cheap, they're crazy cheap at GameStop.
I do think that's the thing, right? It's not that in my mind. It's not that your Steam games will be playable on an Xbox. It's that Xbox games will be playable on your PC.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If that is like, I think what we all really cared and wanted. Hopefully they get there. All of this is still up in the air. There's so many rumors and speculation. We did get that Stephen Totilo thing about the Epic game launcher integrating into the next Xbox, which is now cementing this hybrid PC. But there has to be a way for old Xbox stuff to run on this, and everyone's old Xbox library to just play. So I fingers crossed that some way somehow discs work on this as well. So here's hoping.
Go ahead, Rich.
I was gonna say maybe asking a lot, but if I can play my Jet Set Radio Future and my Ninja Gaiden Black discs on my PC, I will go crazy. Legit. Yeah.
If it doesn't play the discs, it's not an Xbox. That's how I feel about it.
That's
and it's
fair.
the same,
Okay.
because that's the thing that Microsoft has been saying for years. You backwards compatible. You can play all your old stuff. Well, if suddenly you can't, that means that they're abandoning the backwards compatibility. And that seems like a slap in the face to their biggest fans, the people who've been with them the longest. And this does not affect me at all because I have 0 disked Xbox games.
Would you be opposed to the add-on disc extra cost thing to accomplish this?
No, that'd be perfectly fine. In fact, I think that's preferable. You sell it at a lower cost without the disc, and then for the people who actually want that, because I don't want it, I'm not going to go out and buy it. Then the people who want it can go buy it. Just make sure it's friggin' available, unlike with the PlayStation, where nobody can ever find the disc drive.
Right. It's like, and once you do get it, it's tied to it forever.
Right? Yeah, that's true too.
My only request is that it looks like the old HD DVD player that they had for the Xbox 360.
That would be sick.
And it comes with a copy of King Kong like that one did. Like, that would be awesome.
Perfect.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, you know what? Let us know what you guys think in the comments section. You know, Epic is overhauling their software. They plan on being on the next Xbox. Will this convince you to use the Epic Game Store, or will you just continue to download or claim the free games and never ever play them? I will say this last part. We kind of dog on the Epic Game Store on the show a lot. We dog on Xbox a lot, and that's because we want them to get better to offer competition to PlayStation and Steam and Nintendo, and just we want more competition because more competition is always good. But let us know what you guys think in the comments section down below. All right, let's move on to our next topic, which is the Nintendo Partner Showcase. When there was a Nintendo Direct rumored, and I said, okay, well, I'm looking forward to seeing some first-party Nintendo stuff. We got none of that because it was a partner direct instead, or a partner showcase instead. It was about 30 minutes long, and it brought a bunch of stuff, including Fallout 4 is coming to the Nintendo Switch 2, Indiana Jones, which is a fantastic game. If you haven't played it and you don't have some other way to play it, pick it up on Nintendo Switch 2 because that game is really, really good. Oblivion Remastered, Hollow Knight's getting a Nintendo Switch 2 version. That was shadow dropped. Final Fantasy Rebirth is coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 in June, and a bunch of other games, including one that I think that Rich is probably over the moon for, called Orbitals. But here's what I want to do. I want to talk about the games that were announced, and if you guys click on the link in the show notes, it's going to take you to a list of everything that was announced. Rich, I'm going to let you pick first because I think I know what you're going to pick, and what do you pick a game, and let's talk about what you're excited about for it.
Were you looking for me to pick Orbitals? I'll pick Orbitals.
You pick whatever you want, but I want to talk about Orbitals one way or the other.
Orbitals looks gorgeous, and so like this was I think it was announced late 2025, but like we hadn't seen much, and this like anime slash like old school animation, but co-op platformer. So for me, it's kind of giving like Split Fiction a little bit in terms of gameplay. I'm a little disappointed that it's as of right now it's a Switch 2 exclusive, so not coming to PC and not announced for PC. But that just means that I'll have to buy it on Switch 2 because I'm not going to wait for this to come out on PC. I definitely want to get some time to play this with my daughter. So I'm going to buy it as soon as it comes out in summer. But yeah, this animation just looks gorgeous. And I've been enjoying co-op games with my daughter, so definitely gonna pick this up.
Yeah, I haven't played any of those co-op games like Split Fiction or It Takes Two or any of those kind of games. This one, I mean, they all kind of appeal to me, but the art style for this is just perfect. It's like this retro, and it reminds me of Voltron. Like when I saw it, I was like, this could be Voltron. And I was like, I loved watching Voltron when I was a kid. So like this art style just takes me and puts me back in like when I was a little kid eating cereal, watching TV, Saturday morning cartoons. I absolutely love the way that this looks. So this is definitely a game that it's on my list. It's most of the time I don't play these kind of games because my wife is not a gamer and my son is not interested in like that kind of game, but I might try and talk him into it because it just looks so damn good. Russ, did you get a chance to take a look at Orbitals?
I did. They described it as like having the warmth of an old TV, and I think that's the word that really hit me, is like the warmth, right? Like it's a little fuzzy looking. It looks like it just was ripped from a VHS. And so I really like, at first I thought, like I was watching, I'm like, oh, does this need a buffer? Like there's something going on here, like, but no, it just looks that bad, and I think it looks good in that way. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I kind of wish it was, at least had a single player option. Maybe you can do that. I don't really like playing co-op with a stranger. It says it can play online, and I don't know if I can get my kids to sit down and play this with me, but I do want to play it.
Cary, Orbitals interest you or no?
Oh, huge, big time. Me and my son are definitely gonna be playing this 100%. We played through It Takes Two, Split Fiction to completion. This looks amazing. I didn't see the Nintendo Direct. I only saw the like Indiana Jones was coming to it, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be awesome. Also, I'll talk about it more when I get my chance, but Orbitals looks amazing. Like that is actually super cool. So it's a game I'm definitely picking up.
Well, take your chance right now, man.
So what the one I can pick? I'm gonna pick Indiana Jones. And one of the big reasons that I'm picking Indiana Jones, do you know why?
No.
PC optimization.
Well, PC optimization's there, but the full game is on the card. There is no. It's not.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's right.
It's not a key card. The full game is on the card, and I like that alone. There's a world where I will buy Indiana Jones on Switch 2 now when it gets on discount or whatever, just so I can have in my Switch 2 library. So I'm super huge about that. But yeah, it's a game that has ray tracing on all the time. Now, the Ampere GPU on Switch 2 is capable of it, and I'm curious how well they're going to be able to really be able to accomplish to get Indiana Jones in what capacity. So depending on how good they do it, I'm just interested to see how well they can get this down there. And if they do a good enough job, that's awesome, especially for people that just main Switch and Switch 2. So I'm glad that, Microsoft is doing the work. They have their own reasons, obviously, for also making optimizations for handheld. But like across the board, all this stuff, it's great to see.
very cool. Russ, are you picking up Indiana Jones for Switch 2, or are you satisfied with what you've already played?
I actually don't own it, and so I have it on Game Pass. Yeah, I feel like I probably will pick it up on Switch 2, especially because it comes on the card. I've already bought Cyberpunk for that same reason. Like I've got my one physical game, which is Cyberpunk, and it was mostly because it was on the actual card, and I thought that was worth investing into or celebrating. So I kind of feel the same way about that one too. My game is Turok Origins. So I played a little bit of the Nintendo 64 one, like very, very briefly back in like 1994 or 5 or whenever that came out. My brother had like borrowed someone's Nintendo 64 and he took it over, and we just started trying to play it, and we were all just like, aiming into the walls and not really understanding how to use analog controls yet. And so it was a terrible experience, but I don't know. I like the idea of playing a more modern version of this game. It's got a unique look to it. It reminds me of a mix of Turok, obviously, with like your futuristic dinosaur mix, but then also it looks a little doomy, like just in the sense, like just kind of the overall style of it, a little bit more, I don't know, kind of hyper bloody and that kind of stuff. And then also Prey, the Xbox 360 game, which felt very doomy too, very, very Doom 3, if I could put one game to it, And so I like the idea of all these kind of coming together. It looks to be kind of a mix of third and first person, which is going to be great for me. I love that. And it's made by what's the name of this company?
Saber.
Saber. So the guys who did the most recent Warhammer, right? And then
They do a
World
lot
War
of
Z.
porting too.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking this is going to be a pretty good game. Not, like I'm thinking of it kind of like, oh gosh, I just forgot the name of the game. Titanfall. Thinking about it like Titanfall, where it's like just a solid AA first-person shooter game. That's what I want. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking of for this one too. Yeah, I think I'll probably like it.
Very cool. Well, you guys took all the ones that I was interested in, so I don't have anything to add to that. But I will say that I'm not going to be picking up Indiana Jones because I already have it and beat it. Like I had played it on Game Pass, and then Cary bought it for me for Christmas last Christmas, and so then I ended up playing it on PC. I freaking love that game. I need to buy the Order of Giants DLC. I don't know what the hell I keep waiting for, but that's definitely something I got to pick up. But let us know for that Nintendo partner showcase, like what games stood out to you guys. Let us know in the comments down below. And we're going to move on to our next topic, and that topic is PlayStation 5. 92 million units so far, which is pretty bananas. It says Sony shipped 92.2 million PS5 consoles as of December 31st, 2025, with 8 million units moved in quarter three, down 1.5 million year over year. Keeping pace with PS4's trajectory at the same point, software sales reached 97.2 million, with 76% being digital. That's crazy to me. I thought that would be much lower for digital. And Ghost of Yotei outsold Ghost of Tsushima when launch aligned despite a smaller install base. So that's interesting too. And the last piece is something else that it wasn't in this article, but I added it in, that Sony also made $4 billion selling games on other platforms. So like Switch and PC and stuff like that. And so my question to you guys, number one, what do you think about these numbers, 92 million units since the PS5 launched? But secondly, with Sony making $4 billion on selling games on other platforms, we already have Ghost of Tsushima on PC. On PC. Is Sony going to bring Ghost of Yotei to PC, or do you think that they're just going to stick to that multiplayer stuff on PC? Rich, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I think even the fact that you framed that question that way shows how much Sony's strategy seems to have changed for PC in the last year. I was going to say last few years, but it's really only been a year, I think. I think so. The first question, right? Like what do I think of those numbers? I think that's incredible. 92.2 million. And even just the fact that it's keeping pace with PS4. I didn't expect that for this generation. And certainly kudos to Sony for having that kind of under their belt. I think that is really impressive, really incredible, especially around, we talked about like PS Portal and the sales there. So they seem to be taking advantage of kind of the market position that they have. But as far as whether or not like we'll see Ghost of Yotei, I think so. I think we'll see it on PC. I think they just are deprioritizing ports to PC. So it's not something that they're going to have, in my opinion, the same turnaround time that we started to get used to with PC ports. So I don't have a prediction for how long it's going to take. I just think it's going to be longer than what we were getting used to pretty recently.
I have a what's the one where the paranoia thing, the bunch of stuff over there with a
Charlie
squiggly
from
line,
Oh yeah.
What if PlayStation has been delaying their games to come to PC because they're trying to get their PlayStation launcher, which we've talked about prior on this show. But what if?
Oh my God, I know exactly what he's going to say.
What if PlayStation is also delaying this because they want to integrate into the next Xbox, like Epic Game Launcher and Steam is. And then
That's not that far off. It was definitely a thought I had 8 months ago. I don't have that thought now, but I mean, like, how quickly they seem to have changed their strategy. They can change it again, right? They can go right back to that PlayStation launcher on PC. And yes, you would have a PlayStation launcher on PC that is deeply integrated into the Xbox platform. That would be insane.
yeah, that's because like Epic doing this, like saying, "Oh, we're going to redo our launcher," and then the next day is like, "Oh yeah, also we're going to integrate day one with the next Xbox," and it's like,
Hold
I'm a
on.
pretty good pattern recognizer, guys. Like, I don't know about you. Now let me just put some more dots on this board and start lining them up. Yeah, so I'm still a big believer in the PlayStation launcher is why they have delayed a lot of stuff, because a lot of stuff is like kind of sitting around that we know of, right? That was on a thing, on Nvidia's thing. A lot of them started coming out, and there was still more to come, and we haven't seen those. So something happened. There's other stuff going around in the background that you hear, and sometimes when there's smoke, there's fire. So I don't know. For me, I feel like the PlayStation launcher, this is Sony's thing where they're like, yeah, we're gonna release. I still think they'll release on Steam and everything, but I think this is them. They want to take 100% of the profit. They don't want to do the rev
You're
share.
saying there's a Nix's hard drive out there with GT7, Demon Souls remake, Bloodborne,
Bloodborne, yeah, don't forget
and
Bloodborne. Dude,
Astrobot.
there's so much Bloodborne smoke for years, so much, and nothing came. Like nothing, it just came and went, and nothing happened. So for me, yes, I do believe that there is indeed a bunch of PlayStation games that can launch day one on a PlayStation launcher, and it'll be a great way to launch it.
What the hell is taking so long to launch to make a launcher? It's just a friggin' launcher. What?
Sony is the best at software. I don't know if you know this.
My theory is what's taking so long is they abandon it. They don't care anymore. They
That's what I
guess
thought.
Yeah.
You know, I
Okay.
see a lot of missed opportunities with this whole thing in Sony. You know, like it kind of bothers me. Like, why do we not have a Nathan Drake collection with the Unreal or the Uncharted 4 engine like now? Like, put that on PC. I just want to play those games again, and let me do it on PC. That's what I want. And yeah, it's just unfortunate. And instead, we're getting things like that Horizon Zero Dawn, like multiplayer AI game or whatever the hell that is. And it's annoying to me because I love my PlayStation games. You know, like when I'm doing my PC game testing for a handheld, like I just did the MSI Claw, the new one, earlier this week, and I had to stop myself. I'm like, stop installing PlayStation games. It doesn't help with your benchmarks. They're all the same, you know? So I only showed 3 of them, even though those are the ones I wanted to install and just play a few minutes of, you know? And I think that's kind of where I'm coming from. It's like a place where I just want to play these games, you know, ported over. We're at a good place right now. I mean, I'm really just waiting for Ghost of Yotei to come to PC because I haven't bought that one on PS5. But otherwise, yeah, I've been very happy with what they've done, but I just hope they continue to do it.
Well, you're waiting because you think it is coming to PC.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Yeah.
Okay. Hoping or because you believe it?
Well, I don't have enough urgency to like care enough about it, I think, you know what I
Okay,
mean? So
fair
it's at the
enough.
hoping level, you know, where it's at some point it'll be $20 on PS5 and I'll just grab it then if I need to, you know.
Or it'll be on PS Plus or something if you subscribe to that, which I canceled mine. Yeah, same. All right, well, let us know what you guys think. You know what? Cary threw a wrench in it. Is the PlayStation launcher coming to Xbox? Let us know in the comments down below because that would be absolutely wild. All right, let's move on to our next topic. And our next topic is all about Grand Theft Auto. Take-Two has reaffirmed that they are going to be releasing GTA 6 on November 19th, 2026. Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick reaffirmed GTA's release date during quarter 3 earnings and announced marketing will begin summer 2026. So, Cary, get ready for those billboards that you keep mentioning. Signaling strong confidence in the timeline, Zelnick confirmed physical and digital versions launch simultaneously. They also said no generative AI was used in development, and GTA 5 has now sold over 225 million copies, which is just the craziest shit that I have ever heard. Here's my question. My two questions for you guys, and I'm going to start with Cary. Cary, will GTA 6 launch in November? And secondly,
Yes.
how much will it cost?
$90, Ned. Um, yes, it's going to launch this November, and I know it's going to be $80 minimum, 80 minimum, and it's going to be like more than that for all the other stuff for sure. This is Rockstar's like, I don't know, because they know that the next game would take 2 decades to make the, GTA 7 or whatever. So this has to be a platform. This has to be a Fortnite. This has to be a Roblox level event. This is now Grand Theft Auto, the platform that is releasing. So I expect $200 version that, gives you, GTA bucks or whatever they call their money and other stuff and swag and this, that, and the other, but $80 minimum.
I think they are going to sell it for $80 for the single player, and the multiplayer will be extra.
Oh, dear.
And they would sell that separately. That's what I think they're going to do. Now, Rich.
You guys and your ideas.
I know I'm terrible.
They're probably listening. Don't say this stuff.
I know.
Yeah. Slow down, Professor.
Strauss Zelnick, stop this podcast right now.
That's right.
Stop listening.
But subscribe before you go, buddy. All right. So here's Rich. Last time that Rockstar delayed GTA 6, you said that, well, they were a year away, and now they're still a year away, so they've made no progress. I think that's pretty close to what you said on the show.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think that they're shipping this in November, and how much is it going to cost?
I don't know. I'm gonna I'm gonna say they are projecting a lot of confidence. So I'm gonna go ahead and say yes. I would not be surprised if they delay again, but I at this point, I guess I'll say yes. They're answering more questions than they probably should, is how I would phrase that, right? Like, I understand the confirming the physical and digital versions simultaneously. I know there was the rumor that they were going to stagger those, but like the no-gen AI was used in development, they probably shouldn't have. Like, there was no reason to say that, and certainly there's a developer on the team somewhere that used some Gen AI at some point. So not to say that it was sanctioned, but yeah, it just seems inevitable. How much will it cost? Man, I'm gonna go a modest $75.
Okay,
They're gonna split
Russ?
the difference.
He says 75. Cary says 80. I say 80 just for single player. What do you think it's going to cost? And is it coming out in November?
I think they're going to stick with the date. $80 is what I'm going to go with as well. We really haven't seen that, right? Other than Nintendo, right? Like they tried to do Outer Worlds 2, and then they went back on that on the Xbox. So yeah, I'm thinking this is the game that goes 80, and it's going to set a new precedence, basically. I do think it's going to come out, but my question for you guys is, are we going to buy it? And if we're going to buy it, because it's only on PS5 and Xbox, where are we going to buy it? And so I'll answer first, and I am going to buy it just because I haven't been in a big game launch like for many, many years, and I feel like this is the one to like get it day one, pre-download and try out, I think God of War Ragnarok was the last time I really got into a game at launch. I'm probably going to hate it. I never liked any of the Grand Theft Auto games, but I want to be there for it. And I'm going to get it, I don't know, probably Xbox, because I'm hoping that there'll be like a Play Anywhere that comes out later, and so I'll have it on PC as well. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking.
So the new Xbox is not coming out until 2027 at the earliest. And if I'm going to buy it. I'm not going to be playing it again when the next Xbox comes out. So I think for me, I will probably pick it up on the PlayStation 5. And will I pick it up? Part of me, there's a very, look, I've said a million times, I don't like Rockstar games. I don't like the way that they control. I know everybody loves the way that they tell stories, but when the actual gameplay feels bad, and to me, it does feel bad. It's subjective, but it feels bad when I'm using the controls. It just doesn't feel right. I don't like any of their games, but this one is so huge. I feel like I have to. I feel like I have to give it a shot. You know, like I'm with you, Russ. I feel like I don't have a choice. I'm going to have to pick this up and try it out. And I'm going to be really pissed off when I buy it and I try it out and I'm like, yep, that's exactly what I thought it was going to be. And then I never play it again for $80. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see it.
Rich, you going to answer Russ's question?
So it was the question I was going to ask, so now I have to answer it. Oh man. So at 80, if I bought it, it would have to be on PS5. I don't have an Xbox. I certainly thought I would wait until the PC release. Right now, I'm still leaning towards that. I don't like, if it does come out at 80, even if it does come out at 75, I don't want to, I guess, support that. And so I would probably wait and see, you know, is it worth that money? And kind of wait to see some impressions. So I don't think I would buy it on day one. I think I would wait to see impressions. And even then, I would probably end up waiting until a PC launch.
Cary?
So I'd probably buy the Xbox version. Here's why. If Xbox is going to be playable on PC, that means that it's also the PC version, kind of, sort of, in a weird way, that PC can play Xbox games type of thing, in whatever reality that exists. So I would probably buy it through that angle first. If I did not have this hybrid idea in there, I probably would pump the brakes pretty hard and wait for a PC release, unless I know where Rockstar is. Like, I physically know, like, I know how to walk in front of there, and I know how to talk to people. Like, give me your things.
Shake them down.
This is yeah.
This podcast does not endorse.
I was gonna say, this is this is not a threat.
Look, this is just me LARPing as a Grand Theft Auto character.
Oh, okay.
You understand? Yeah, like, you see where I'm going with this. I would just wait. I would have waited for the PC release, but now that I have the hybrid news, I might get the Xbox version day one and probably just play it and then not.
All right. Well, let us know what you guys are going to do. Are you going to pick it up on PlayStation or Xbox? Do you think it's going to be coming in November? And how much do you think they're going to charge for it? Let us know in the comments. All right, let's move on and talk about our next topic. Baldur's Gate 3, which I played a little bit of today because of this news. Baldur's Gate 3 is going to get a TV show. And that TV show is going to be made by Craig, and I don't know if I'm saying it right, Mazin, who is the guy in charge of the Last of Us show. He also made Chernobyl. He's developing a Baldur's Gate TV series for HBO that continues the story immediately after the events of Baldur's Gate 3, which is why I'm replaying it, because I never got to the end of that game, and I definitely want to. I'm like in the middle of chapter 2, or Act 2, or whatever they call it. I can't remember. Featuring both existing and new characters dealing with the game's ramifications. Unlike The Last of Us, which retold the game's story, the series is going to be an ongoing continuation with creative freedom, since no new game is in development. Larian had moved it, like, they got tired of Wizards of the Coast shenanigans and decided we're just going to make our Divinity instead. And then Mazin plans to invite voice actors from the game to participate in the show. So, Cary, you had a roller coaster of emotions when I dropped this in our Discord. You were like, yes, and then you were like, no. Talk about that.
Yeah, so initially, like everything was like coming up Millhouse, and I was like, "Oh yeah, the guy who made Chernobyl, I love Chernobyl. Oh yeah, that guy, he's gonna do a great job." And I'm hearing all the things like it's after Baldur's Gate 3, and I'm a big fan of making sure canon is there and all the other stuff. So I'm everything is like really like lining up for me, and then I'm like on Twitter to like see other people talking about it. And then like one of the guys that like works with Larian, he's like, I'm gonna crash out on main right now. And I thought he was doing that out of happiness at first. And then it turns out, no, actually he's not, because they're like not even involved. So at the moment, no one from Larian, as far as I'm aware, has any involvement with this TV series at all. And that bothers me to a great degree. Like, I don't know how you can have like everyone celebrating why Baldur's Gate 3 is so great because of this team, and then just be like, here you go, someone like, I have full trust in the director of like, executing very well, but I do firmly believe that the people that were involved should have a strong presence in guiding as well. And them not there takes me back a little, and I get worried. Like, are we gonna have this, like, is this going to be this thing where, like when Witcher was coming out, they're like, oh, we're totally gonna follow the books and we're totally gonna do everything else, and then they just like rug pull you midway through and they're like, never mind, we're actually gonna do our own thing, we're gonna take our own spin on this. And that's what it takes place afterwards, so technically any way they go could be canon. But I don't know. I don't, it doesn't sit right with me, and I am in this whirlwind of emotions right now that I just have whiplash.
Are you worried about canon in this case? I mean, like, is canon for Baldur's Gate determined by Larian?
No, so no, especially that it takes place after Baldur's Gate 3, but I do feel that the main people that did it have ideas that maybe aren't going to be the central focus. Maybe they're not there, but they would be like, actually, this part right here, what we should do is we can call back to this. That may not be present in the showrunner's mind because they don't have that, they can't intuit that, right? So I feel like they should be involved, whether or not that mean, like, I'm not saying that they should have, like, they shouldn't be directing it, but I do firmly believe that they should have involvement.
I think that when you look at just like the circumstances around the idea of like how the game got made, like Larian had to run pretty much everything through Wizards. Like they're the ones that own the IP. They're the ones that have this property and they control it. So everything that Larian probably did, not to take anything away from Larian because they made an amazing game, but everything that they did, they probably had to get permission from Wizard to do this, to write characters a certain way. And like, yes, they wrote that stuff, but now all of that stuff is probably sitting at Wizards. And basically, because Wizards is so controlling, my read on the situation is because Wizards is so controlling, Larian was like, we don't want to do a Baldur's Gate 4. We want to do our own thing. And they're not interested in working with Wizard anymore. And that's why they're not involved in it. At least that's how I think it probably is.
So, one of the things that I definitely saw in the later stages of my military career, we transfer into new jobs every 3 years. And so you're often picking up projects that someone else already started, right? And you're just kind of continuing and pushing things forward. And I kind of liken this whole thing to that as well. And one of the things I always did was I would call up the guys who were running their project before me, right? And I just kind of get their take, what were their pain points, what was going on with all that stuff, regardless of what I did with any of it. But it was just making me more informed. And I kind of was thinking that as Cary was talking. It was like, maybe they should have some unofficial chats with Larian, like Craig Mazin should, and just kind of like, hey, like, where do you see this going? That kind of thing, just a way of honoring the work that they've already done, kind of thing. But I don't know if contracts are preventing them from that. Maybe it's really ugly between them and Wizards like, no, don't talk to them, talk to us, kind of thing. Who knows? I will point out, though, that Craig Mazin is a longtime writer as well. Before he was a showrunner, he was writing stuff. And so he wrote He was the writer on like some of the Scary Movie sequels, not the original, but the sequels, and then also the 2 Hangover sequels. He was the writer on those too. So maybe not like the best pedigree, you know, in terms of those writing credentials, but he's been a writer for a long time, and I think that's really important when running a show like this. And so I've got a lot of faith that it's probably going to be pretty darn good, especially when you think of something like Chernobyl. But yeah, I do hope that at some point they have a conversation with Larian about that, if they're allowed to, and just kind of, you know, find a happy consensus to honor the work that they've already done while moving on to a new project.
I also think that, like, they said that he's going to reach out to the voice actors and, you know, try and get them involved in some way.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they're going to be a big part. Like, they could just be like, oh, by the way, what's the lady, the cleric lady that's hiding everything from you? I can't remember her name in the game. Shadow something. Shadow Heart.
Right.
Shadow Heart.
Okay.
Like, maybe Shadowheart is like in a bar or in a tavern someplace, like in the background, and like she walks by and says something, or she walks up and she's like hires the people who are in the actual stars of the show. Hey, I need you to do this for me. And everybody who watched the show or who played the game is like, oh, that's Shadowheart. Holy cow, that's so cool. And that's her whole part. Like, they can tell a story because it takes place after, and they're not recreating what happened, which they can't recreate what happened because everybody has different paths through that game. Because it takes place after, they're not beholden to that same thing. They could have their own story, and like Rich said, that becomes the canon because Wizards of the Coast controls the IP.
Yeah. What's funny is when you're telling me about the thing, honestly, the only thing that was coming in my head was the orc girl who I always like in my head. I'm like Gamora, and like their name's not Gamora, but like every time I saw her with like the teeth coming out, I'm like, you're just, you know, it's like, but yeah. So my brain was scrambling for a name. I don't want to go too far on this, and I don't want to repeat myself. I am very confident in the work of the director. I feel like all the work that he's done has always felt like there was like what it was, no matter what it was, I felt like the gravity of what they were doing was respected, and I feel like that I can trust in from his previous work, and that is what really does excite me a lot. I really wish that there was a way that this could be done in a way that is amicable for all parties involved. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You mentioned Larian. So someone at Larian was crashing out.
It's Cromwell.
It was Cromwell.
On Twitter,
okay.
it's Cromwell. Yeah.
So like, he shouldn't be, right? Like, isn't this like pretty like? It makes me optimistic, right? That like will probably see like a Divinity series at some point, right? Like, we have Witcher, we have Baldur's Gate,
right?
Like, this is kind of in the zeitgeist right now, and I can see that if, you know, Larian lands the next Divinity, the one that we saw the trailer for, like, yeah, we might be able to see a series.
They will. They'll land it.
What is Divinity based on? I don't actually know.
I don't know that it's based on anything. Like, it's their own. I think it's their own thing.
It's their own thing.
I think there's like 5 games. I only played 2 of them.
No, what I mean is like so like Baldur's Gate is Dungeons and Dragons, right? Like it's in the Dungeons and Dragons rule set.
Yeah, I don't know if are you asking if it's based on a tabletop RPG?
Yeah, like they have like offshoots, right? There's Pathfinder, and then there's another one from the Critical Role group. They made their own.
I think it's its own thing, but I'm not 100% sure. Like, I never looked into it.
Yeah, so there's a part of me that, like, I know that Divinity... I don't know that Divinity has the same textural feeling that Baldur's Gate 3 does. Baldur's Gate has. That I almost feel like they should just make a whole new thing that they could start fresh on instead of trying to, you know, go off of that Divinity series, even though that is a fine series to go off of. I just feel like they really should have started somewhere new. This is just me just spitballing. I'm not saying
I'm also thinking about it, like, back to Witcher, right? Like, Witcher 1 and 2. Witcher 1, certainly no one was really paying attention. Witcher 2, you started to see like those embers start to light up. But Witcher 3
Right.
was the one, right? So maybe
Yeah.
they have a Witcher 3 in them when it comes to Divinity.
Honestly, I
Maybe.
don't think that they don't need it, because they needed it with Baldur's Gate, because Baldur's Gate
Right.
was that IP that they were like, oh, it's a new Baldur's Gate game, I'm going to check that out. And I mean, yes, they made really good games before, but this is the game that put them on the map. It made Larian is now like one of the best studios ever. You know, they make such good games. So now it's not that it needs to be this next IP, it's the next Larian game. You know what I mean? And I think that's
Right.
because Baldur's Gate lifted them up with that name, and then they delivered on it and then some by making just a bonkers good game.
I do to some degree think that the rule set that they use is critical. Not to have a pun in there, but I do think it's important to have a good rule set in there, because a lot of the things that they had, I loved every part of it, not just like rolling for whatever success rate you have or not, but I forget who told me this, but I was, when I was flying over to Taipei, might have been a Baldy Rudy. I was talking about how I was flying over to Taipei and playing Baldur's Gate 3, and my party just got wiped by goblins. He was like, I don't, the game's old, so I don't, maybe other people already know about this. He's like, oh, I just put muddle over my face and told the goblins that I was a goblin. And I was like, I need to replay now. Like, I need to redo how I'm doing. So like that level of like how many options you have to get through is obviously one of the reasons why Baldur's Gate 3 is so beloved. But I had just gotten into a bad situation with one of my stupid side characters just starting something. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah. Well, let us know what you guys think. Are you going to watch it? Are you excited for it? I personally am I'm super hyped for it. The creative minds behind it, and the fact that it's Baldur's Gate. If I'm telling you right now, if we don't see a giant bald guy screaming at a space hamster, I'm going to be pissed. Like, I need to see that at some point in this game. That's got to be there, or in this show. All right, let's move on from all of the news. We got all the news out of the way, but let's take a minute to talk about the games that we've been playing. I don't have anything to say, because the only game that I've been playing is Arc Raiders and Baldur's Gate 3, and we already talked about Baldur's Gate 3. So, Rich, you have been looking at a game for a while, looking forward to it, and we've talked about it on the show before as why you're excited about it, but now it's out. Memories in Orbit.
Yeah.
Tell us all about why you love it.
I am really digging Memories in Orbit. It has taken a dip in the Steam user reviews, and I understand why it's taken a dip, or at least I think I do. But I am still enjoying it. So first of all, like, it is a Metroidvania. And the problem, I think, lies in that it seems very approachable to begin with. And all of a sudden, it's harder than Silksong, or at least that's what some people are portraying. Yeah. So it does get very challenging. Even now, when I play it, there are challenging aspects. There is like a run back aspect, right? So like if you die, you have to get back to the boss or whatever. You do lose like currency, but the losing of the currency isn't really the problem. It's just the fact that I have to get back to the boss, and sometimes the run back is longer than the attempt. I will lose to the boss faster than it took me to get back to the boss. So that is it, it's painful. It is a lot of pain.
I've returned.
Exactly. Yes. So it is very painful, but it does, like, all of that approachable aesthetic is still stuff that I like, right? Like, it has this like lo-fi kind of music, but also kind of bumped up a bit, like the tempo gets high. But it just has this nice like ambient feeling, and like the art style as well, right? Like it has like sort of this like cell shaded almost, where again it just looks like a chill place to be in. Unfortunately, it is not. It is very hostile, but I enjoy it. Yeah. Does that take it off your list, Bill? Russ?
Absolutely.
I'm literally taking it off my wish list right now. Like, it's on my wish list. I'm clicking the button right now, remove from wish list. I'll come back to this later maybe, but man, that's I was looking at it, because it's they have like a complete a bundle thing, and so I've already bought Dead Cells, and so it gives me $2 off if I buy this one. So $18 for this one. And that's a good tempting price for a new game, but man, the difficulty thing does throw me off. I don't know. I'm actually going to put it back on my wish list right now because I might get it for my son, whose birthday is in like 2 weeks.
Nice.
Don't watch this.
Right.
Yeah. He does.
What about you, Bill? Are you taking it off your list?
It is off my list entirely. I am a filthy casual. When I hit a wall, I'm that kind of guy that says, you know what? I could be doing something more fun. And when I run into a wall and I just cannot seem to progress, I don't, as the kids say, get good. I just go play a different game instead, which is why I never finish anything. I mean, yes, I finish games, but like a lot of times I will play a game and I will play for 5, 6, 7 hours or something. And I'll get to a point where like, yep, I've had enough of this. And even though I didn't finish the story, that's okay. I wash my hands of it and I move on to the next shiny thing. So memories in orbit. Well, I've already forgotten you.
Yeah. Nice.
It is in orbit. Literally.
One more thing too. I like the parts that are hard that I have experienced also they seem like it's nothing compared to what the reviewers are talking about, because what the reviewers are talking about, I haven't even gotten to yet. And I'm talking about like bosses and stuff. They're talking about how much it gets like to be a precision platformer in like the latter half of the game. So like, remember like the hard parts of Ori, like I think that's what this becomes for a good deal of the game.
Yikes.
See, if you're looking at a precision platformer, then Celeste is the one that you want to go for, because when you die, you only lose 2 seconds of time.
Yeah,
right.
No run back.
Like Super Meat Boy.
Does it have a difficulty slider? Like Ori has a difficulty slider, so it makes it a little bit easier for me.
I'll have to look back at it. I don't think so. I don't think there's any like difficulty options, but I'll look back at it.
I think if it did,
like
then the reviewers would all probably not be complaining so much.
Right. It sounds like a good game for my son, honestly. I mean, like he got, Silk Song, he finished it or whatever. Then I came back, I'm like, yeah, pretty hard, right? He's like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? Like he's at that level. And so this might be a good game for him.
He just changed the subject. The boot tip, pretty hard, right?
Dad, you're wearing flip-flops.
Can't hear you.
Russ, what have you been playing, man?
So I have been going back to a classic. So Final Fantasy IX. So I was talking to somebody and they're like, this game works really well on GameHub, the PC version of it, right? But there was this mod called the Maguri mod. So essentially what happened is when Final Fantasy IX was first made on the PS1, they had all these fancy graphics or whatever, and they had to downscale everything to match the hardware, and they lost all those original assets. And so when you play the Final Fantasy IX Steam remake one that came out 2017 or so, it is so muddy looking, the backgrounds. The characters, super sharp, and everything else just looks really bad, and they don't have the assets to upscale it. And so there's this guy he made this thing called the Maguri mod, and he used AI for it, so there's a bit of that AI kind of watercoloring, and then he filled out the rest manually, and it took him years. And so you can install this mod and then play the game, and it upscales the graphics in the background. It still has kind of a softer look to it, but it just makes a lot more sense compared to the graphics of the characters who are like 1080p, And so it plays on GameHub, and you can install the mod on GameHub too. You have to go into the the build of Windows that's running that game, go into the Windows desktop, then paste the file in there, then launch it, and then turn it on. But it works. And so I'm able, on my Odin 3, which is a Snapdragon 8 Elite Android handheld, I can play the game at 60 frames per second, 1080p, which is the screen, the resolution of the screen. And it looks amazing. So I've been playing a bit of that, and yeah, it's a great game. I'm only like an hour and a half into it so far. It's the only Final Fantasy game that I've replayed multiple times. It's just one of my favorites. And so that's what I've been playing lately.
Is Final Fantasy IX the one that you told me that I should play?
Yeah.
Because I never played it.
Yeah.
If it is, then yeah, this is the one I got to add to my list.
It's
FF9
the
is
one that
also
goes back to. It goes back to like instead of being like technology, they go back to like more traditional.
fantasy.
It's
Fantasy,
more
that's the word
traditional.
I was
Like
looking
it
for.
feels more like an older Final Fantasy, like before 6.
Yeah.
It's also Sakaguchi's favorite, apparently. So yeah, he
we
said
go.
it. It's a yeah.
There's like a few times that people tell me different ones. They're like, oh, you should play Final Fantasy 11. You should play Final Fantasy. And people tell me that I stopped playing midway through Final Fantasy 7, and I was just like managing my materia in the overworld of Final Fantasy 7, and I had like a total Bill moment, and I was just like, I'm done. I've had enough with this.
Materia is awesome. That's my favorite system.
Yeah,
love
I was just min maxing everything, and I was just going through this like whole grind thing of like finding stuff and just like leveling up, and I was just like, what the hell? Like, none of the magic of like FF6 or Chrono Trigger was there. Like, Chrono Trigger is still my absolute favorite of like story and how like the characters, and actually really loving the characters, like being attached to how they feel, and what they're doing, and going back in time and everything, and how that all like those two games. It just, yeah, those are incredible. So I do need to pick up. I need to play FF9 someday.
Yeah, the pacing in 9 is a little slower, a little simpler, but that's kind of what I like about it. You change characters often too, so who you're playing as, so it gives it a more feels more like a TV show, if anything. I would say like you're just kind of changing perspectives and you're kind of moving forward, and you all come together at one point, and so
Right.
yeah, there's a lot of things I like about it.
I'd probably just play on an emulator and just fast forward through a bunch of
Well, the
stuff.
McGree mod
Yeah.
lets you do that. You can play it like fast forward through battles. You can do all sorts
Right.
of stuff. Auto battle your other characters. There's a lot of cool quality of life features in that one too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
See, I need to try it again. I own it on PC, and I have it like for emulators and stuff. I've only ever played Final Fantasy 9 for like 2 hours at a time, or 2 hours, and then I would say, "Oh, I'm going to try something else," or I just forget that I'm playing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, one cool thing about the McGree mod too is that you can just go just search for that, and then it'll bring up their website. Just one line of code. Go into your Steam Deck if you install on that. Then go to the desktop mode. Just paste that one line of code into terminal. It'll take care of all of it, and then you can jump back into the game.
Really?
So it's very
Okay.
very simple in terms of setting it up on the Steam Deck in particular.
Excellent. All right, I'll Russ, shoot me a link to that, and I'll put it in the show notes, or I'll try to remember to put it in the show notes. If I don't put it in the show notes, put a comment yelling at me about it, and then I'll remember. All right, Cary, you
Real
been
quick-
playing anything? Oh,
Bill?
go ahead, Rich.
I want to go back to Mio real quick because it does have assist options, and I'm kicking myself because I remember I was listening to the Besties podcast and they talked about the assist options, and they did sound pretty cool. So three assist modes that you can toggle on or off. One of them is called eroded bosses. So bosses get easier the more you lose to them, if I recall correctly.
Nice.
Yes. Another one is called pacifist. So that makes it so regular enemies don't attack you unless you hit them first. So also pretty cool. And then ground healing, which I assume gives you heals with your healing will be recharged by standing on the ground for a few seconds.
All right, I'm back in.
I'm putting it on my wish list.
Wish this.
There you go.
Waiting for a sale though. Cary, you been playing anything?
The only thing I've been playing has been super lame.
I haven't heard of that.
I've been playing Fortnite. And the reason I'm playing Fortnite is because Game Pass Ultimate includes the stupid Fortnite whatever schmundle. I don't know
Fortnite
what do they call it
Pass?
there. Yeah, and it has all the squiggles. I don't know. It has a bunch of nonsense.
That's the squiggles.
And
What
you
year are
have
we
your
in again?
V-Bucks.
we get the squiggles and
The first time I played it, I was like, oh, let me see what they have. And the first time I played, they had Simpsons, and it was like you have the battle pass, so you can earn. And it was like Homer was literally the last one. I had to get to level 80. I was like, oh, all right. So then I did that, and then like the next season started, and then they had one thing that I wanted, which is like this burn thing coming down, and I had to get to like a level 112. And I'm like, oh. And so as I'm doing that, and then on one of the shops, it was like one of the shop days, it was like, you can buy Master Chief just for today. And I'm like, I already have the V-Bucks for free for Game Pass, so it's for free, right? Like, I did not pay any money for it, but I'm like, now I'm getting stuff to like just I'm like, okay, I'm happy with what I have here. I just want these last few things. So I'm just kind of like getting those things. And I just been doing the dailies, and then I stop playing. I do, it's like, takes like 15 minutes. I do a daily and I stop playing for the day. So that's what I've been doing. The super lamest game, Fortnite.
The way that you are talking about the way that you play Fortnite reminds me of the motorcycle DLC from Breath of the Wild, where you're like, okay, whoa, you can get a motorcycle. I'm going to do all this I'm going to do all this stuff. And you get the motorcycle at the end of the game, and you're like, okay, well, now I don't have anything else to friggin' do. So like you're playing so that you can get Homer Simpson. You get Homer Simpson, you're like, okay, I don't have to play anymore. That's the whole reason you were playing, Cary.
I now I have Master Chief because I had V-Bucks, and I still have lots of V-Bucks. I think the only thing that's good about this whole arrangement is that every month they give me 1,000, even if I don't play, which is fine for me. But for like my daughter or her friends or whatever, I could buy gifts. I can just gift it to them with those V-Bucks. So it's not like just for my character, which it's nice. It's nice that I could gift away those points. I'm probably going to be finished pretty soon, unless they dangle something in front of me. The only thing I want now is just a better glider, because the gliders that they have kind of are crap. And I just want one that has a cooler entrance. That's all. I just want to get to a point where I'm super cool and then stop playing.
All right. So I think that's all the games that we've been playing, and I think that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast. But before we get out of here, we got to make sure that we tell everybody about all of the projects that you guys are working on. Guys, you're going to be mad at me because I forgot. Like, we were like, it's 9:35 at night. I'm an old man. I got to go to sleep. We forgot to figure out Cary's like his how long to beat for his entire playlist. So I'm going to edit this in after the fact. Cary, Russ made a guess, and I don't
2,500 days.
2,500 days. I went the under. Bill, do you have an under or an over for 2,500 days?
2,500 days. I'm also going to say under. I think it's going to be less than 2,500 days.
Okay, remember, it's only 2,532 of my 10,362.
No.
Okay?
Yeah.
There's a lot of numbers. You just lost me.
It is under. It is under. The total time to beat for my 2,532 games is 2,044 days.
2,044. And that's about a quarter. That's about a quarter of your library, right? So let's times that by 4, divide that by 365. 22 years, my friend. 22.4 years.
Dear Lord.
Yeah,
Dear
there's no
Lord.
way. I would perish before being able to, or I would have to have one sick retirement where I'm just like non-stop.
That's the life. Yeah.
Just gorged out on video games.
Yeah. I'm going to have to treat it like fruit stripe gum, just like, flavor's gone. Flavor's gone.
You could be playing games like me.
Yeah.
This game's
All
amazing. Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Very
okay,
nice.
Cary, I'm very curious, real quick. So, does this make you want to stop buying games?
No.
Okay. I didn't expect that it would.
It is what it is. I just like having the opportunity to play whatever I want the moment I want to play it. I buy games whenever I feel like the value is fine. And that's it. If it's in a bundle, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. What is it, $1, $2 to have some money? Take some money. So yeah, it never really bothered me.
So this
and
makes
also
me
because
Go
go ahead.
I was just saying, this makes me think, what about, are we able to bequeath like our game libraries to our children?
No.
You know what I mean? Like, how's that going to work in the future? Like,
Yeah, I could just add you guys to my family plan, and then you guys could just.
I don't want that. No, thank you.
I was gonna say, Russ, you thought Russ was looking for your library specifically? Like,
No,
I'm
I'm
just
saying, like,
passing it on.
yeah.
Feel the power between your legs, baby.
Well, there you have it. What was the number again? How many days?
2044.
2044.
Yeah, 22.4 years.
22.4 years. 22.4 years, everybody. If you want to play his entire library, you know what? His entire library can go out to the bars now. And there you have it. All right. We're all done now. We're going to go back to the ending.
Bye again.
Cary, what videos you got coming out?
So I'm working on the Mengmi Air X. Russ did a video on it. I'm kind of in agreement just with his short blurb that he had on Twitter. That's what my first angle was, from like a streaming angle as a streaming assistant and of a streaming buddy. The screen out of it looks really nice. I'm going to be doing a video of that, but I think ultimately I'm going to try to use this to piggyback on an idea that I've been long talking about, is like why the Steam Deck 2 won't be ARM, and hopefully I can get those two done within a week. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Rich, I know that you aren't working on projects, but I forgot you had another game in the show notes, TR49.
TR49, I'll give a quick plug. I beat TR49. I think I mentioned it last week as well when I was starting to play it. And in a way, it's sort of the opposite of Memories in Orbit, where it, instead of feeling accessible and being really hard, it feels really hard, and it is still hard, I gotta say, but it nudges you in the right direction. Where this is a detective game, so you're like trying to make connections between let's say authors, right? But like it's all very obfuscated, and like it's basically like trying to decode a new language. But it just nudges you in the right way, where I hit the runtime that everyone else hit, 6 to 7 hours. So I don't think I'm particularly clever. I think that's just good game design.
Excellent. Russ, what are you working on, man?
Before I talk about videos, I don't know if I mentioned already, but I finished Hades 2 and I played through that. I probably put almost 20 hours into that. And man, once you get to end game, it is really good. Like it is, I think I can't remember if I told you guys this offline or on the podcast, but it's like, I don't think I can ever go back to Hades 1. Like that's how much I love Hades 2. And I wasn't feeling it in the beginning, but it takes about 8 hours to be like, all right, now we're in this, and it's so much better. So I did want to give a plug for that because I don't think we talked about it previously. I've made a couple of videos recently. I reviewed the latest MSI Claw, the A8 one. So it's got the Z2 Extreme in it. Pretty good handheld, but the design is really weird. It's very blocky. And then I did the Mangmi Pocket Max, and then I've got this Ambernick controller which has its own screen on it, 2.5 inches. And it's funny because on their marketing materials it says 2.5D screen, and I was looking at Discord and people were like 2.5D, so it's in between 2D and 3D, like what does this mean? But no, that just means diagonal. 2.5 inch diagonal screen is what they're saying, and it's just a mistranslation, but it's fine. It's a PC controller that has a screen that allows you to configure settings. You can't do anything fun with the screen at all. That's basically it. But yeah, I'll have that out probably by the time this video comes out too.
Awesome. So make sure that you check out Russ over at youtube.com/retrogamecore. Check out the Cary over at youtube.com/thefox. That's PHAWX. And you can also check out Rich, although he's not uploading right now, but he will. Someday he's just going to drop a video and everybody's going to be like, oh my God, he's back.
No,
and be like,
fact.
am I?
And
that'll
exactly
be youtube.com/fanthedeck. I'm Bill. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast. You guys could have spent the last 2 hours anywhere, but you decided to hang out with us, and we appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one. Stay rad, everybody.